Hi everybody, this is just the disclaimer to remind you that I did state in my last video that this video, the Zozi video, which was actually filmed previous to my last video, I'm just now uploading it, will correlate strongly with that video. So there will be some things you're going to be like, hey, have I heard this? You probably had if you watched my other video. And if you did watch the other video, thank you, but there are some differences. Please continue and enjoy. Everybody, and welcome back to the Sovereign's Court. My name is Davana. We are back on Miss Universe topics today, and I want to talk about why Zozi's win is such a monumental occasion for a lot of people. I understand that some people they don't get why we're freaking out. They just don't get it. Like Deshauna Barber is on her video, like she's freaking out. She's like, there's a Miss Universe that looks like me, and people are just like, girl, why? Like, why are people tripping? Why are you guys so excited? Like, why? We're gonna talk about it, okay? We're gonna talk about it. But in order to talk about our wonderful Queen Zozi, we have to kind of flash back to the past, the beginning, the birth of the pageant community we have grown to love. The pageant world was born in the 1920s. It all started with Miss America. That was the original pageant. Miss USA is actually a fracture of the Miss America organization. They were once one pageant. Now, in the birth of the Miss America organization, there was a rule written in the books called Rule 7. Rule 7 stated that Miss America contestants had to be of good health and of white race before it was thrown out in 1940. So up until the 40s, nobody but white people was competing in pageants. Wasn't even allowed. Now, after the 1940s, Jewish women were allowed to compete and win. The first Asian American was allowed to compete. She was from Hawaii. Hawaii was not yet a state, but she was allowed on stage. The first black woman was not allowed to step on stage, not win, just step on stage, okay? Because they protested in 1968, but she wasn't allowed on stage, given her invite until 1971. We got our first black contestant. The first black winner was in 1984. Now, our wonderful Queen Zozi comes from South Africa. If you don't know, which you should, South Africa has a very, very painful history in apartheid, which didn't end until 1994. Apartheid was the legal separation of the white and the black races. It was illegal to marry someone who was black. It was illegal to be with them. They didn't share things. They were completely and totally separate. Black people were very much looked down upon and discriminated against, and there was just a lot of negativity placed towards them. Now, it was abolished in 1994, but South Africa still has this very painful, scarred history and past. Now, Zozi has done several interviews, which I have watched, and she's explaining that even when she won Miss South Africa to go to Miss Universe, people were considering her a downgrade from the previous Miss South Africa. She wasn't good enough. They were just like, oh, well, great, we have no chance. Like, they weren't giving her any respect. They weren't even giving her support. They weren't giving her even a chance at really winning. And then she came to the discussion where she had to discuss her hair. That's such a big topic. Okay, let's get to the hair thing. In the black community, we have a breakdown system of different textures of hair. No, black people do not all have the same type of hair, and no, Afro is not a hair texture. I don't know why people put that on my cultural appropriations video. They're like, well, isn't your hair Afro? Like, Afro is a style, it's not a texture, okay? Zozi has a 4C type of textured hair. It is very, what we call kinky. It's kinky hair, but her actual curl pattern is an actual wave or curl. I have like a 3C, 4A hair texture. So my hair is like, it's wavy. I have wavy hair. I have very wavy hair. But these type of textures are typically looked down upon. They're typically seen as dirty, or they're just not, they're not pretty. And you rarely ever see these hair textures represented even in the media. Even on TV, commercials, you don't see a lot of these hair textures, especially Zozi's. I would say Zozi's hair texture is the most discriminated against. Add to the fact that it's short, which is not what the pageant community is used to. The pageant community is used to very long flowing locks. Zozi's hair does not meet that. Zozi is also very rich, deep, dark skin tone, which I think is gorgeous. Like people that have like that, have you seen someone who just looks like black? Like just jet black? They look like a living, walking statue. I think it's amazing, but most of the world does not. Most of the world sees it as ghetto, ratchet, unclean, unkept, poor, just gross. Like they just don't, they don't like it. They don't see it as beautiful. They don't support it. And people who present that type of skin tone get a lot of backlash. They get a lot of racism. Zozi got it. Deshauna Barber, who was Miss USA 2017, I think. Deshauna Barber got it. And the United States has gotten better because we have so much diversity. We're not perfect, but we've gotten better. But the international community, especially countries that don't have those skin tones represented, they tend to be the most outspoken against these type of people. And Black women, we know that. We know that when it comes to the standard of beauty, it is very Eurocentric. It is very focused on European beauty standards, which we are the complete opposite of. Pageant beauty standards are fair skin, long hair, like light skin, light eyes. We're not that. That's not what we are. And we are constantly put down for it. And we're also completely and totally underrepresented. A lot of Black women have been fighting for so long to be accepted as beautiful without having to change their natural self, that when Zozi made it in her dark, rich skin, with her short cropped 4C hair, it was a miracle, an absolute miracle. Something that I knew I'd probably get to see it happen in my lifetime, but I wasn't expecting it now. I did not see it coming because I know how people view dark skinned women, especially with her hair texture. Let me just share with you guys the impact that the pageant community's lack of representation had on me. When I became eligible to compete in pageants, I was like, yes, I'm gonna go compete Miss California. It'll be so much fun. I was gonna do it. And then I realized that Miss California had just crowned a Black woman. And I immediately was like, never mind, I'm not competing. Because it was well known within the Black community that the pageant world kind of had like a quota system. Like they would kind of use us as tokens to maintain their illusion of diversity. It was known that if they had just recently crowned a Black woman, they weren't gonna do it again. They only crown a Black woman like every 5, 6, 7 years just to maintain the illusion of diversity. So when I found out a Black woman had already been crowned, I wasn't gonna compete because I knew that no matter how good I was, no matter what I did, no matter how much training I went through, they weren't gonna crown me. They weren't. It was not gonna happen. And this was well known from Black women. Like we called it a Black year, where we would look at, we'd be watching pageants and we would have like a string of white women. And then after like 4 or 5 white women, we'd be like, okay, now they're probably ready to crown a Black woman, go for it. Like we had to strategize that way, and it was awful because we knew that we weren't being judged on a level playing field. We knew that we weren't just gonna be judged on our skill set or what we did or how we spoke or what we said. We knew it was just not level for us. So I didn't even want to put in the effort. I didn't. The moment that Miss USA crowned back-to-back Black women, I damn near died. I hit the floor. I couldn't believe it because like it made me want to cry because I'm like, in my eyes, we finally have a fair shot. We're finally being judged on our skills and what we present on stage. We're not being used as a token because you guys feel like, oh, well, it's time to throw in a Black girl, otherwise we're gonna look bad. Like, but, after they crowned back-to-back Black women Miss USA, people went off in the comments. Instagram, YouTube, people were just saying, well, they're just crowning Black girls because Obama's president and they're trying to please Black people. Basically saying that these girls didn't earn their titles. These girls didn't get their titles because they're beautiful and they're flawless and they speak well. They're getting them because they're Black. And the pageant Miss USA wants to placate the Black community. That's what they were saying. And I'm over here sitting like, people want to say that we're too sensitive and like this stuff doesn't matter. And I'm just like, nobody had a problem with 5, 6, 8, 10 years straight of blonde white women being crowned. But the moment they crown back-to-back black women, it's an issue. Up in arms, they're going nuts. Now, to me as a black woman, that totally proved that in previous years we weren't necessarily being judged on an even playing field. And now that we are being judged on an even playing field, it seems like black women are getting more of a backlash because they're winning. And they're winning because they're finally being treated as equal. It's because of stuff like this that a lot of black women do not feel comfortable doing stuff like pageants, because they know that they're going to be picked on. They know that they're going to be looked down upon, or that they're going to have to change something about themselves in order to appease the judges or the audience. They have to look less black. They have to be a lot more eloquent in their speaking. They can't be as loud or as confident because it could be misperceived some way. Like, there's so many landmines that black women have to go through. We have to deal with our hair and I mean, we can't change our skin tone, but some people still judge us for it. Like, it's stressful. It's really stressful. So for somebody like Zozi, who came from a country like South Africa, a country where they were saying, you know, she's not good enough. Like, South Africa is in Africa. It's Africa. That's the land of black people, and and they're mad that she's black, and they're mad that they're saying she's not good enough. Like, for her to be that woman and come from a country like that and step on a stage with a hair texture that people don't understand, don't support her, don't think is beautiful, be herself, be that eloquent queen, snap in your face and leave with the brand new crown. Yes, it was a huge moment. It was huge, 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 huge moment. I understand that a lot of countries don't even see people in their country that look like her, but it is important for them to see that she is beautiful as well. That is important. Zozi is not only a good representation for black people. I think people miss that entirely. It's not about black women, okay? Like, we love her, but it's not just for us. Zozi is a good representative for everybody who does not fit the mold. And I'm talking about all the dark-skinned people of the world, because people like to say all the dark-skinned people are black people. We're the darkest skinned people on the planet. Yeah, okay. But we're not the only ones. There are dark-skinned Indian women. There are dark-skinned Asian women. There are, like, it's not just, there are dark-skinned Latin women. It's not just black people. Now, before we all start patting ourselves on the back, because I know you guys are like, well, it's a good thing that I'm a very diverse, supportive pageant fan, pat on the back. Like, before you guys start patting yourselves on the back and thinking that everything is solved and everything is fixed and done just because Zozi was crowned, we're gonna stop right there, because I got some stuff to show you. The pageant world is not completely there yet. Like, you would think that everybody has a fair and even playing field at this point. No. I'm gonna prove it to you. Zozi is our Miss Universe. She is a dark woman. Who is the main sponsor for the Miss Universe organization? Chinese Laundry. And if you watched some of my first earliest video, you know what I'm gonna say. If you didn't watch the video, poo on you. You should have watched it. Even though Zozi is our Miss Universe and therefore representing Chinese Laundry, and Chinese Laundry is her sponsor, the Chinese Laundry company, that sponsor, does not make a shoe, a nude shoe that matches the current Miss Universe queen, even though they are her sponsor. I brought this up when Deshauna Barber was competing. The purpose of a nude shoe is to elongate your legs, make you look taller, leaner. It looks beautiful. But Chinese Laundry does not make a shade of shoe that matches dark skin tones, though they are currently the sponsor of a very dark skin Miss Universe. Do you see how that looks? I brought this up, a year ago? And we're still here. How is it acceptable or fair that a nude shoe is only meant to match one skin tone? a light skin tone. Let's keep going. Pageant dresses. A lot of the gowns that we love to see Miss Universe is wearing, a lot of the girls have had like sheer nude gowns or like sheer panels on their gowns, or like Pia and Catriona both had strapless dresses that use like a sheer mesh skin tone fabric to hold their dress up, so you know we don't have no little slips happening. Those dresses cannot be worn by darker skin tones. They are not made for darker skin tones. And you guys heard me praise in my last reaction video, when Zozi was crowned, I praised Dominican Republic and Sierra Leone because they both had like a sheer type of gown that required that mesh fabric, and I could tell that it was custom made because those gowns are not made in skin tones suitable for those girls. They're only made for fair skin tones. I know because I've been gown shopping. I have tried to buy those dresses and it's not possible. Literally, they're all made for fair skin tones. It's like the darker skin tones don't matter whatsoever at all. Period. Unless you get your gown custom made. It's totally unfair. It's things like this type of inconsideration that really hurts people and lets us know that we're not necessarily completely and totally equal or cared about. Could you imagine, let's say you went on like a field trip or something, or you're with your work group of friends and everybody is given a specially made name tag just for them, okay? Everybody has their name tag, and then they get to you and they just give you a sticker that says no name. Like whatever, like you don't matter. That's how that feels. And it's important to remember things like that because it's not just the pageant world, it's the world in general. Little things like that still exist. Band-aids. Did you guys ever notice that Band-aids only come in one nude color? Band-aids are meant to blend in with your skin so that it doesn't draw attention to your injury or it's not distracting. It's meant to blend in with your skin. But do they really make Band-aids for darker tone people? No, they don't. So there's still things out there that, though Zozi is such a good representative, she's not just a representative for Black women. She is a representative for everybody who doesn't fit the mold of what the pageant community or beauty community says you should be. Zozi is a dark-skinned woman, but Black people are not the only dark-skinned people on the planet. We're the darkest, probably, but we're not the only dark-skinned people. But you do not see that their representation on pageant stages. And pageant fans, you guys need to take some accountability for this. Filipinos, hey, I know y'all here, I'm calling on you. Where are the dark-skinned Filipina contestants? I know they're there. You're an island community. You guys are literally on an island. I know you have some tropical skin tones, but in the Philippines, being fair is still very coveted and very important. And I have seen some girls brought down simply because they're too dark. Asian communities, Japan, China, Korea, Asian people tend to still be very light and very fair, but for whatever reason, their community wants them to be even lighter. Like an Asian woman that has like a medium olive tone, to her community is considered very dark. Very, very dark, and it's not pretty. I would say the same thing about Taiwan or Thailand. It is not just the Black community that has to struggle with skin tone barriers and skin tone issues. I do not see a dark skin Miss India coming on stage. And I know that it is very important in the Indian culture for their women to be fair skinned. That's what they consider beautiful. And you don't see a dark skinned Miss India on the Miss World stage, Miss Supranational stage, Miss Universe. You don't see it happen because it's not beautiful and it's not what they want. Philippines, I don't see your dark skin tone girls up there. Asian communities and countries, I don't see your dark skin tone girls up there. Japan sent a mixed girl and she got a ton of backlash because she was mixed with African and Japanese. But these girls are completely shut out of even their own country's competition simply because of a feature that they have no control over. And it's not fair. It's not right. And I love that Zozi is shattering the stereotype of dark skin being bad or ugly or all that. I'm happy, but it's not just for Black women, it's for everybody. All of you dark girls out there, because I know that like bleaching is a thing in India and a lot of Asian communities and even Black communities like Haiti. I know it's a thing, but I really hope that women learn from Zozi and learn to accept themselves and not want to change themselves or damage their skin because other people don't know how to properly appreciate you. I have to deal with it all the time, even on my channel, even as a YouTuber. I am, you know, I'm a Black woman, and because I'm a Black woman, a lot of people who are not Black feel like they have no place to follow me because I'm Black. They feel like they can't get any good information from a makeup video that I do because I'm Black. And it's just silly. Even if you go through the stats of YouTube, the highest ranking people on the YouTube platform are white men. And the biggest Black woman that we have on the YouTube platform is Jackie Aina, and her entire follower base is made up of Black people because outside people, for whatever reason, find it difficult to support someone who's Black. For whatever reason, I don't understand. Like, I watch fair-skinned people do their makeup all the time, but fair-skinned people won't watch a dark-skinned person do their makeup. It's just, we have such a long way to go, and it's exhausting to just know that I'm stuck in a box that I can't escape. It's literally a box that God put me in, and I'm just stuck into. Like, I know you guys support me, which is really nice, and I enjoy you and the friends that I do have, but this is why Zozi's reign and her crowning is such a big deal. She is such a huge representative for people who don't fit the mold. This is just to show how diversity is such an important topic and such an important thing that we need represented in many different ways on many different platforms. Please also take this knowledge unto yourself and think about how you may have been perpetuating certain stereotypes or certain ways of thinking yourself, because we don't always realize that we're doing it, especially if you are from a different culture who's not really diverse or not familiar with other people in the world. Just think about that and think about the way you judge people or how you think about beauty, and take the time to diversify your life, diversify your train of thought. Go follow some people on YouTube who are not of your skin tone or who are not of your country. Just diversify yourself, because it really does help you see different ways of thinking. It helps you learn things. It helps you discover things. Like my time that I spent in Japan, which those of you who didn't watch my cultural appropriations video, you didn't know that I spent time in Japan. Like, I lived there. Yeah. This is why it's important to follow along. But the time that I spent in Japan, it's so treasured to me because I was exposed to such a different way of thinking and such a different culture, and I treasure that because I learned so much. And I still follow certain things from the Japanese beauty community because they got it going on sometimes. Like, my skincare routine is based off a Korean skincare routine. Like, I've learned a lot of things from outside cultures. So make sure that you diversify your life and reevaluate your own personal thinking and try to uplift people who are different than you, befriend people who are different than you, and do your best to not project any negative stereotypes on even yourself or your family members or your kids, because I've heard some things from like Asian daughters whose moms are just telling them, you know, stay out of the sun so you don't get dark, and like just why is that important? Why is being tan or brown or black such a horrible thing? Like, it's not. Obviously it's not, because we have a blackness universe. See? Point proven. Okay? So stop it. Stop it. Stop it. All right? Thanks for sticking around, and welcome back to Miss Universe Chats. And I will see you guys all later. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up. Leave your thoughts in the comments below if you have your own personal story of how maybe you face discrimination based on your type of beauty or your skin tone. I'd be interested to, you know, hear the thoughts of other people, or if you maybe thought in your own head like, hey, maybe I have been perpetuating a certain stereotype or putting down a certain style of beauty. Like, it's okay, because, you know, my court is very diverse and gender, ethnicity, and ages, so we all accept here. And if you just want to air out and be like, hey, I didn't know this, that's fine. We support each other here. If you have any questions, ask me or ask the fellow members of the court. We are all very helpful people. We're a team here, okay? And make sure you hit the subscribe button so you can stick around and go along with future Miss Universe chats and things that we get into, because we have fun here. I will see you all later. Enjoy your day. Bye.